Do you know how powerful you are?
Welcome to Rise Urban Nation.
Welcome everybody to Rise Urban Nation.
Reshaping and elevating your mindset to help you achieve what you believe.
Sometimes we don't even see our own greatness. You can't be what you can't see.
And connecting Black cultures to build a community of talent and success.
Black people need to realize that they are assets. You are an asset.
When we rise, you rise.
Come together as a group.
This is Rise Urban Nation with Terrell Simmons.
Testing, 1, 2, 3. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another level. I said another level. Yes, we about to level up because we about to run it up with Rise Urban Nation. You're tuned in with me, Terrell Simmons. Man, this next guest we have today, what can I say about Mr. Davis? Mr. Davis, it was a pleasure to have this conversation with him, hailing all the way from ATL, and talk about his journey into the space and his understanding and knowledge of finance. He is the founder of Cryptoshare, which is the first peer-to-peer lending platform that allows cryptocurrency and physical assets to be used as collateral. And so we really talk about his journey into creating that and learning finance, which really helped him understand blockchain, the whole thing behind this. And he dropped a masterclass, a piece of a gem. I'm hoping that we connect with him at a later point and figure out how we're going to get this masterclass to all of you, so you really understand, that crypto world, the technology behind it. Really, blockchain is what you really need to know. And his platform, Cryptoshare, they really use that info, that knowledge, that foundation to help users get a digital debit card for online purchases with the option to get cash at a cardless ATM. So I'm excited for you to check out this episode. And with that, no further ado, let's get into the episode with Mr. Davis. All right, we live. We in there. My brother from the other mother. We had to reschedule a couple times to do this. Let me let y'all know, Rise Urban Nation. But I'm glad we were able to do it. We multitasking kids out here in the room, and we about to get it going. My brother Anade Davis. Now hold on. You gotta tell me this name. How did this name come to be? I feel like there's some meaning behind it. Give me the story behind this name.
I tried to look it up, and it can be traced to like Europe and maybe Africa. So really the name really has no meaning. I tried to create a meaning, but the reality is my father. So there's a weird tradition in my family of giving kids bad middle names because it's actually my middle name. Like my first name, I rarely use my first name now. Whatever word you want to use, I guess I became woke. And my middle name my first name is very common. And my middle name, you're not going to meet too many Anades. You even hear my last name, Davis, is very common. And I started traveling and doing research on history, and I just adopted my middle name, and I've been using it ever since. People love it, and I'm never confused with anyone. Because to be honest, man, a lot of times, when you get in business, you meet so many people, and sometimes you don't even realize how many people you're meeting. You don't even realize, like even this. I don't know how many people gonna watch this. I don't know how many people are going to share this. I'm talking about like the residual. Like, it could be somebody 3 years from now, but they're going to remember that name, which is why, if you look at some of the most famous people, when you really look at them, that's not their real names. People don't know that.
Yeah.
Like so the biggest celebrities of whatever you look like, oh man, that really person was born this. And after some time, they change their name to something else. So it's a reality thing. It's great for branding. Great for branding. So that's just another little a business tip I'm throwing in a minute one.
Look, he giving nuggets as soon as he get on. Business tip, giving us branding advice. And speaking of branding, let me tell you, for those who want to catch this, the visual, the video experience, my brother's glasses is on point. I knew we was gonna have a great conversation. Me and him both got the little brim thing going on the glasses.
There we go.
Like
it's only one way to live.
Look, I'm a big 9.5. Big shout out to 9.5 out here in San Diego. They got some nice glasses. That's where I usually get my frames from. But you have to drop me the link to these glasses here because I might have to get those frames in my collection.
I'm gonna be honest with you, man. Don't kill me for this, but these my wife glasses. These actually my wife glasses. Don't kill me for this. I know people love it, but we in that era now. So nobody better hit me up about nothing. Look, we're in that era now.
It looked like a unisex. I like anybody can wear it. So like,
Yeah,
I'm not
you're
gonna
right. You're right. Yeah.
come for it. I'm not gonna come for you for it. I know you rocking them and you making them work.
Appreciate yeah, man. They match my hair and everything, man. Low key, you probably can't
the
see it,
shirt is blending.
Yeah.
You blending. You about to be blending and trending up in here.
Appreciate that.
So let's jump right into it. I see you a Cryptoshare founder. Is that the name of the company, Cryptoshare?
Yeah, so the name of the company is Cryptoshare. Really quick, I can answer it for you. What is that? What is that? All right, so Cryptoshare, we're a digital wallet and cryptocurrency peer-to-peer lending platform. Peer-to-peer lending application, whatever you want to call it. That is Cryptoshare.
Okay. And how did you come up with this brainchild? Like give me the story.
Man, I'm gonna be honest with you. First, man, I want to say this. Wefunder.com/Cryptoshare. If you go to if you just Google Cryptoshare Wefunder, you'll see it. Cryptoshare Wefunder. Now there's another scam company called Cryptoshares. That's not us. We're Cryptoshare. So we're actually looking at branding. We're looking at actually changing our name to Cryptoshare Pay. Right? Now, anyway, the real reason we came up with this. So we started out actually just wanting to do peer-to-peer lending. And the biggest thing the biggest issue that people have, let's just be honest, African American people and Hispanics have in the United States of America is access to loans.
Yeah.
Statistically, and that's not nothing I'm making up to sound like I'm smart, but statistically, it is a big lawsuit going on right now between Black real estate tyrants and tycoons suing. You probably heard about it, suing because they said over, I think, 20 years of evidence that banks have been declining Black people with everything they needed. Still, who have credit scores, who have everything, they said they got declined at a 3 times higher rate than white people who had the same exact information. Wow. Hispanics, 2.5. According to the FICO statistics, African Americans have the lowest credit score in the United States of America. All right. Wow. Now, the reason this matters is because you got to understand how much this excludes African Americans and Hispanics from the wealth process, the real wealth process, right? Mm-hmm. Literally, banks get wealthy from what? I'm gonna let you answer.
The banks get wealthy from your money. Like they take your money and invest it in other things.
Exactly. AKA essentially lending money. Mm-hmm. Banks literally run off of getting 10 to 15 to 20% interest off your money and try to pay you. What is it with the credit deposit? They try to pay you what? 0.2%? Y'all know what I mean? Like 2%. Yeah,
like if you get a really good high interest yield savings, you can get maybe 3%. Like, it depends where you go.
And you hear that? 3%. So they're literally making money off your money because what they're doing is they're lending it out with mortgages and all these different things. And when people pay it back, they're giving you your cut of your money and they're taking the lion's share of it because in their mind, they're the intermediary, right? So that's where peer-to-peer lending came in. We're not the only one that exists, but we do have a twist, right? Now, go ahead.
No, I was going to say this is why people who have large amounts of money, when you try to take a large amount of money out the bank and they say, oh, we can't give you like $10,000 a day, is because they have to, liquidate, allocate and remove that money because they put it somewhere else. So it's not just sitting in the bank for you. So it's not, you don't have direct access to it. And how does that make sense? You don't have direct access to your cash, your own money that you set up in there. But go ahead. You was about to.
And it's so funny you say that. And I'm gonna give a quick lesson here. So blockchain. This is why blockchain is so important. This is why blockchain is the future of everything. Because essentially what blockchain has done is it has eliminated the middleman from situations. Let me give you an example. So if I'm a rapper and I come out with, this happened with Tory Lanez. If I'm a rapper and I come out with an album and I sell 1 million copies, and let's say the payout is just to get even, I sell 1 million copies. Let's say the payout is $1 a copy, right? Mm-hmm. And I get my $1 million. I'm happy, all of that, right? Now the problem is, the way this currently works is the record labels will charge whatever number they want to charge, make side deals, whatever side deals they want, whatever side deals they want off of your project, and give you a percentage. This is why you hear so many rappers suing record companies. You hear Big Sean doing it right now with Kanye West. Because the rapper, even with the streams, when you put a video on YouTube and it says you got 1 million views, how do you really know you got 1 million views? Because you got to understand, if you got 1 million views, there's a certain dollar amount that YouTube has to pay out to you. So they might suppress your views. They might say they call it shadow banning or whatever they call it. You hear YouTubers talk about it where they like, so all my videos are viral, but all of a sudden this one video when I'm talking about this only got 20,000 views. It's because it's a strategic thing. It's they call it, I think it's called shadow banning. It might be a different name, but I'm just thinking that's what they call it. But the point is, you really don't have access to how many streams you really got. But with blockchain removes that intermediary and gives you direct access to the person, right? It takes all of that away. It takes out somebody counting your money, essentially, right? So what we do at Cryptoshare is we're doing the same thing with peer-to-peer lending, where everything is transparent using like blockchain, right? So the difference with the way we lend with our platform compared to what Black people in the United States and Hispanics have to traditionally use, they're called fringe banks, right? Because we can't go to the bank and get loans like everybody else. Hopefully you can answer this so they can add some suspense. So if you can't get a loan from a bank, brother, outside of your family, tell me right now, where would you go to go get a loan? If you want a loan right now today and you can't go to your family or you can't go to a bank, where would you go get a loan from?
If you Black in America, it depends on how much you need. If you need like something quick to hold you over, you go to check cash in place, but they're going to charge you up to the wazoo.
Stop. I'm glad you said that. That's literally in our pitch deck. Check cash in places can legally charge you up to 300% interest. I had a loan that was bad like that. I got a peer-to-peer loan online, which is basically cash advance. I got one online and my interest was literally like 150%. It got to the point where my credit got destroyed and I'm still recovering from it, right? But I got money. I'm a data scientist. Oh yeah, I'm a data scientist too, by the way. I got money. I own a house. I own a car. I got a Porsche. I own my home. I own these things. Not a mortgage. Like I own these things, right? I got a nice house. You know what I mean? But to the credit people, to the bank, I'm a bum out here. My credit score is my credit score is terrible right now, right? But the question would be, but how do people with assets still get access to funding? Because let's say I got, just give an example. Let's say I got $30,000 in the bank. Let's just say shouldn't you give me a loan more so than the person that don't got no money, but they got an 800 credit score? Doesn't that just make sense?
Nah.
Now, the reason the game is rigged like it is, we know why it's rigged. We're not going to get, that's a whole nother conversation, but the game is not set up for us to win. That's the point. So we created Cryptoshare for you to use assets that you already own without going to cash advance places, without going to pawn shops, which is another fringe bank who's been raping the Black community for years, which is why you don't see pawn shops in rich white neighborhoods. You don't see them. You don't even see them in poor white neighborhoods. You don't see them in their trailer parks. You see pawn shops in hoods. You know why? Because they can charge ridiculous interest. Cash advance places are banned in 14 states. To the point now, even with pawn shop loans, they're starting to add caps in certain states to where they can charge you. So what we do at Cryptoshare, we allow you to use collateral that you already own, and we cap the interest rate at 20%, right? So what do I mean collateral you already own? This is a watch. This is our Armani watch from my father. My father gave it to me before he died, right? We creating a new way to peer-to-peer loan to replace pawn shops or even work with some pawn shops called blockchain smart lockers, right? So what do I mean? Have you ever heard of an Amazon delivery locker?
Yeah.
Those are smart lockers. They just branded it so people can think, but really they're smart lockers. The real name is blockchain. It's like Kleenex. Yeah. They're not Kleenex. They're actually tissues.
Tissue,
right?
but they branded the name, and then so therefore,
exactly. We getting high level business talk, so they branded it, right? That's what Amazon did. So if I wanted to borrow a quick $300, and I'm not saying I can even get that, I'm just giving an example because watches are hard to judge. But let's say I want to get a quick $300, I can go to a blockchain smart locker and put my watch in a blockchain smart locker, and then as soon as I put it in there, it's locked. It's locked, right? And because everything is direct blockchain, it's no more intermediaries. So I put my watch in the blockchain smart locker. My payment schedule says I need to pay you back $50 a week for 7 weeks. If I miss one payment, there's no more intermediaries. There's no more, none of that. It's your collateral would now be released to the lender. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
That's how we're changing the game with peer-to-peer lending. Of course, you can do it with digital assets. You can use cryptocurrencies assets. You can use NFTs. You can use stocks, like you can use your digital assets, but we're changing the game because we're actually creating a way for people to use physical assets to actually borrow money in real time.
Yeah, let's pause right there because you gave them a whole lot. For those who not familiar with NFTs, I'll probably do another episode on that. But go check out Earn Your Leisure. My guys over there, they do a good job at breaking down NFTs. And the nugget that he dropped earlier in this episode about what Tory Lanez did. Tory Lanez did an NFT. Like if you look at the video, he was so geeked up. He's like, "Oh my gosh, this is going to change the game. Like, why do we even need record labels anymore?" Because he made a whole bunch of money off that NFT, and the process was so seamless, and it was direct to consumer to him, and he controlled the whole process. And his mind was blown that he could do that, and he's like, and I'm looking forward to see now that he knows this, what he's going to do with his career.
And he made it, and I think I seen it this morning. He actually made it in like 5 minutes or something. Like it was so quick, and I'm quite sure that's the most money he's ever made pound for pound off an album. I already know it is because it's kind of like what I said with the blockchain smart locker. I no longer need to go to a pawn shop to let some racist white man undervalue my diamond ring or my watch or whatever it is and give me $50 for it. It's no longer those games. Now it's direct to you. So I can, okay, cool. Squadcast, they wanna lend me money, cool. We can either do it directly through the app. And it's another thing too. It's not a thing where on our pitch deck, which you can find on wefunder.com/cryptoshare, it actually says lend and borrow without racism. Because
I love that. That's a bar.
It's a bar. It's literally on our pitch deck, and I thought about it. I'm not ashamed of it because it's literally a situation where it's some peer-to-peer lending apps to where they show people faces where you create profiles, and that's still like. And at this point, people can't even help it because it's so much messages in the United States to kind of like of being prejudiced. It's just it's what's the word, like it's subconscious.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like he probably not gonna pay me back. But if I'm just lending and borrowing, because the way it works is I will put $1,000 up into a lending pool, right, on Cryptoshare. I don't even see the borrowers. All I'm doing is just only thing at this point is I'm either if they defaulted on the loan, I'm receiving their collateral. They can either pick it up at a blockchain smart locker with the security code, or we can mail it to them. We'll have somebody check the lockers every week or so or whatever, and we'll mail it to them.
I like that. Man, this is all so fascinating. I can't wait to learn more about this. Now, I want to go back a little bit because I know somebody's going to be listening to this and be like, man, how did my dude get into the game, or how did this start? And correct me if I'm wrong, you were in the pitch competition. How did that come to be? If it wasn't a pitch time, correct me. And let us know the story how this came to be. Yeah,
so I actually brought that up to you earlier because the people in the pitch competition, they were saying it because I was in a pitch competition, a high level pitch competition with a company called Bitcoin. Major, it's a big presence in the Black community in technology. I mean, they had famous speakers, Draymond John from Shark Tank. I mean, if you go look at that roster, I mean, it was a big event. And I pitched and we won. Now, the only reason I won, people had way better, man, listen, people had interactive pitch decks. I had the old PowerPoint. I'm going to be honest, after we won, we have actually a new pitch deck that I haven't even released on our Wefunder page yet because it made me step up my pitch game. But the reason I won is because of my energy, right? Because a lot of people was depending on a pitch deck and it was like rehearsed. But I tell people, for all y'all entrepreneurs out here that are looking to raise money, because looking to raise money as a Black man with dreads is work. And I specifically said a Black man with it's work. Listen, it's work because that's a whole nother story. But anyway, my point is you have to put yourself in a position where when you talk about your product or your service or whatever it is, you're not pitching. You're having a conversation and you're explaining the real world benefits of it. That's how you raise money.
Yes. Big old fact. So some people may not know this. I was in a pitch competition 3 years ago, Google Techstars. And
congratulations, brother. That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you. I accidentally came into this world, to this tech and startup and VC world by trying to help them diversify a program because they wanted more diversity, equity, and inclusion. So it's like, I can help you get some more Black people to the event and so forth. It's like, why don't you come and attend it? And I think the real big reason, so I definitely resonate with what you're saying. The real big reason why we won is because I was like, look, we got to really highlight the benefits, and you got to be able to tell the story behind the product and how we got here and how it's going to help change, save, or, help lives or people or situations, right? And be able to really, really tell that story so people can understand it. And that's what we were able to do. And people resonated with that. And so I'm looking forward to seeing the product that we originally pitched goes forward. And I'm not going to lie to you. It's hard for, Black founders to raise that capital, even
let's
after
talk about
winning
that.
the competition.
I want to hear your. That's something that I don't talk about enough in the interviews that I do. But let's talk about. I want to hear that from your point of view. Could you please and give me some tips? Can you tell some of your tips? And I'll tell you some of mine. We can kind of just share experience, man.
Yeah. So because after you win those competitions, you get the interviews with the VC companies, you get all these different resources. But when it comes down to it, to get people to actually put in the work with those resources, or when you come to the table, let's say, for example, talking to, one angel investor, they're like, yeah, I'm gonna give you, I don't know, let's say I'm gonna give you 300,000 for 30%. I was like, wait, 300,000 for 30%. Now, I don't know what normal deals look like, but I do know if I'm gonna bring on a COO, a CEO, and other people, and I have no income right now from this company, I'm gonna have to give up, some percentage of the company, right? And if I'm giving you 30 right now and pre-seed, what am I going to be left over about time I start relinquishing all this control at the early phase, and I haven't even got to Series A, Series B, and so forth. Like, so I'm a pass because I can't. This seems like the deal, the
360 deals,
the 360 or the check cashing
deals.
or the check cashing deal. I'm not gonna have a company left, or you gonna be. It's gonna be easy for you to take your company away from me.
Exactly.
So that's been my experience, and so 3 years later, we still working on the product slowly but surely. But compared to my second place runner up, who are not Black owned, they've seen more progress, right? But they've had significant amount of help, support, resources from the people that they've been interacting with. So that's been my take on it. I don't know. Give me your take.
Oh man, it's we ain't got enough time. It's too much to unpack. But let me say this. let me take it back a little bit. Let's have a history lesson. I'm a data scientist, right? I went from driving Uber to having a 7-figure business in data science, right? From driving Uber in a 3-year period, all right? Okay. So I'm not the guy that graduated with a master's in computer science, right? But I'm gonna tell y'all something. And this is what I honestly feel. And this is about African American people, especially African American men that want to get into, it don't matter what you want to get into. Learn finance. Tech is cool. It'll make you rich, all that, but learn finance. And what I mean when I say learn finance, actually learn how to buy a stock, right? Learn some of the stuff he just said. I'm actually very impressed with your knowledge base. I had no idea, because you'd be surprised how many people that are way more successful than me, like millionaires, that don't know pre-seed, angel, Series A, startup investing. That's because I'm telling y'all something. That's one of the biggest kept secrets wealth vehicles that exist in American history. That's why you see Nas all of a sudden, he calling himself NASDAQ, like, because he understood it. And I'm telling people, I got to be started investing because I started learning finance. And I'm going to tell y'all something, man. You don't have to have a degree or nothing. I'm telling y'all, look up Series 65, right? It is a way to become a certified and registered financial advisor. And they give you a book to read to pass the exam. I read about a quarter of the book, didn't even finish. I learned so much in that quarter. Sometimes when you're reading the book, you're getting so many nuggets that you can't even fit. You just got to start then. You got to start at that moment. Man, I got so many nuggets. I learned how to register my company with the SEC. I learned how to, it has made me a millionaire. I learned how to play that game, the evaluation game and all that. I learned how to play that game, and it's made me, it put me in a favorable position, right? Because it forced me to learn about stocks, convertible debts. Like you said, and I'm not getting too deep, but I'm just giving y'all this is a high level game here. Liquidation preferences, when you take those deals? Is it a 1x, 2x, 3x? That might not make sense now, but I'm saying as y'all get into it, this stuff will make sense to y'all. Preferred stocks versus common stocks. This is stuff that y'all have to learn. I get it. We love NBA as black people. We love going to concerts. We love that. But look, we have to start putting in that time into finance. We got to. That has to be a required time in your life. Even if you take 10 minutes a day to read a page out of a finance book, you have to do it. And I said Series 65 because anybody can become a registered Series 65 financial advisor. So y'all can do your own research on that. So I just really wanted to say that's been my biggest thing about raising money, because I'm telling y'all something, my last little piece, because I know I've been running, but I want to say this too. When you get into money, when you get into finance, for some reason, you start making money. It's like the law of attraction. I was a data scientist for about a year and a half. When I became a financial data scientist and completely shifted to I'm only working with data science in the field of finance. Changed my life.
Yeah. And I think, running into learning game from watching these different VCs and how deals are made, it changed my life.
What's a VC for the people that don't know? What's a VC?
Venture capitalists. So I give you one example. I was talking to a group of VCs from outside the US, and they found out about my podcast. They're like, hey, we love what you're doing. Could you introduce us to people that who got like different things going on, whether it be in these different class assets? And we have like, I don't know, 400 million sitting in the bank that needs to be moved. We can't have it sitting there, and we want to invest. And I was like, you don't want money. And this one, they explained like it's a loss for us to have money sitting in the bank. So what we're going to do is we're going to put some of this capital into some of your ventures of people who we're listening to. We especially like some of the stuff in real estate class, because what we can do is we can put our money up, take more money from the bank to match that, because they see is back supporting us with this deal. Take that money from the bank, use it to hold for the construction, take our money back out and flip it into another deal. And I was like, you could do that? It's like, yeah, like you never use your money, use other people's money.
We have a campaign right now on Wefunder. I think we raised I'm not sure if this is the right number, but I think we've at 175,000. And I'm not saying that, that's the rules, but I'm not saying it in a way, how we using it, that's the wealth game. That's one of the things you learn when you start like going into finance. You use other people's money. You don't get a personal loan. You create a business and you get a loan through your business. It's so many ways, because if you default on a loan personally, guess what? They get to take all your assets. But if you have a business set up and you get a loan under your business, if you default, you can just keep going, because if you default, they're not going after your personal asset. And that's when you get into shell companies and holding companies.
And that's
finance, man.
That's big facts right there. So like when you get into this game, even if your brand yourself, separate you. That's what I did. Like this Terrell Simmons, the business, and this Terrell Simmons, the me. Under the Terrell Simmons, the business, that's where all the business credit is established, where, some of the deals happen. And so you can maneuver things around. If you have another company outside that, you build up that business credit and then borrow to build these ideas and these things. Wealth is in the creation of the idea and using vehicles to move that wealth around.
That brother bro, you spitting so much. Yo, man, let me say this. I'm honored to be on here. I had no idea your IQ in this game was so high, because I get on some other shows, not none particular, where people got money through different things, but they don't understand the finance game. Because I'm telling y'all something now, man. Like, if you got $20,000 in the bank, you can make more money with that $20,000 by using that $20,000 as collateral to get another loan for maybe $5,000 or $10,000, and it's a game. Then when you get that $10,000 loan, you put that $10,000 with the $20,000. Now you got $30,000, and you go get another one. Let me get one for $50,000. We working on something right now. It's called. So there are certain banks. So we raise money on Wefunder, like I said, and it's certain banks called venture financing banks, where they literally allow companies like ours who raise money through crowdfunding to use the money we raise as collateral to get more money. And there's another wealth vehicle. It's called mergers and acquisitions. You know who mastered that? The richest African American in the history. Now, it might be in the history of the United States, which is not Kanye West. It is Robert Smith. He's the guy. People never heard of him. He's the guy. I know you know who it is. He's the guy that paid for everybody tuition at Morehouse. That was the first time people heard of him. And you've never seen a video on him with a money phone. You never see, because this levels is wealth, mind state, and then it's the rich mind state. Me, I got the wealth mind state. I was wealthy before I even had it. I was wealthy when I was driving Uber, big dog. Because it's a mind state. You know what I mean? And it starts with your diet too. That's a whole nother subject, but I want to throw that out there, man.
I look at you. Woo! We don't have enough time on this podcast to hit the levels you hitting,
exactly.
But this brother right here, let me tell you, we're gonna do this again because I love everything you're saying. We dialed in. Let's take it. Let's go back to the beginning because like I like to see like people to see the journey. So because sometimes we have limiting beliefs about how we see the world and I can't do this or I can't do that, and especially those young men that we probably inspiring right now in this conversation. I like to go back to the beginning. Like, how did you even? Let's start with the first job. What was your first job? And then we're gonna go through the journey.
Man, my journey is different than a lot of people, man. I'll be honest with you. I don't even really like even bringing up my journey because I want to get really far past it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm being honest, man, because I grew up in a small state, South Carolina, and it's nothing to do there.
South Kakalaki. I got some family down there, Greensboro, and Greensville, South Carolina. I'm wondering if we might be kinfolk.
Salute, we might. And it's the thing, though. If you go to, and I'm not talking about the older people. If you go to the youth, where are the jobs? Where are they working? It's literally because South Carolina is South Carolina. South Carolina invented the slave code. Right. So the problem with that is my age group growing up 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, all of those summer jobs, because it's South Carolina, number one, it's not a lot of industry. That's number one, because it's South Carolina. Number two, who you think don't get them jobs to? In South Carolina, we talking about. Now, of course, every now and then you're going to see a brother working bagging groceries at Kroger or something like that. But we talking about overall, and y'all can look at the statistics yourself with the black unemployment rate. South Carolina at one time had the worst schools in the whole United States of America. It's a lot better now, but we just was bad in a lot of things for a lot of years. Unfortunately, I grew up in that era, right? Yeah. And I did a lot of stuff that, like, man, I delivered phone books. I drove Uber. Man, I did so much stuff, man. I had to be the ladies' man to find a place to live. Like, come on, like so much stuff, man. And I know, and I know at times, sometimes we love looking back, but for me, man, I don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, I like having a 3-story house. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't even want to look, and I didn't grow up like in the hood or nothing like that. My mother was working class, but I still had a single mother. Because working class in South Carolina is different. That's like $30,000, $40,000 a year. That's different. So, like, when my mother died and I looked at her, like, my mother never made over $50,000 a year. But like I said, because we live in South Carolina, the cost of living is different than a Miami or an Atlanta or a Charlotte. So I didn't grow up poor, but she never could get me the stuff I wanted. Yeah. So when somebody can't get you the stuff you want as a black man in the United States, I want to watch. My man got to watch. You know what I'm saying? So, we get caught up in doing a lot of stuff that we don't want to do. And I did go to college. I did go to graduate school, but I'm going to tell you, I went for communication, mass communications, media, filming. And the problem with that is I owe almost $100,000 in student loan debt, right?
Hey, I'm right there with you.
And I'm going to give y'all another gem. You might not want to share this video too much, but I'm going to give y'all another gem with student loan debt. There's a rule with student loan debt that says if you do not work over a certain amount of hours or part-time, you never have to pay it back. You just got to keep doing whatever they call, you think of the deferments, right? Mm-hmm. So the way to get around that is you create a business and you never become a full-time employee. You become a contractor the whole time. You become a part-time worker the whole time. So my best advice for people is, if you can, stay away from a W-2. And I'm going to give y'all a quick gem real quick, because I know we're going everywhere, but I love giving, this is like they said, if you want to become a millionaire, give value to 1 million people. So I always try to get the most value possible. So I'm going to give y'all some tax game. So when you create a sole proprietorship versus an LLC, right? An LLC is a legal structure of a business that has LLC at the end, right? But if you could create an LLC, and let's say my name is Anade Scientist, right? I can create a sole proprietorship without filing any papers called Anade Scientist, right? And I can create an EIN number under that sole proprietorship, which is essentially not a real business, but it is, right? I got an EIN for my sole proprietorship, not my LLC. Now, the reason this matters is to get around a W-2. So when you get a job, you can write your real name, which happens to be the same name as your sole proprietorship. But this is where it matters. Where you write down your social security number, don't put your social security number on that W-2.
Mm-hmm.
Put your EIN number, because now that you're being paid a salary under your sole proprietorship business, what can you do? Mm-hmm. You can write off everything, everything. And when y'all hear this again, rewind this, run it back. I just dropped some real game that could save you thousands and possibly millions of dollars over a lifetime.
That's big old facts right there. Man. Well, all right. Give me this. How did you get into becoming a data scientist? Give me that story. Like.
All right.
Because I know you didn't just wake up and say, you know what, or graduate high school. You know what, I really want to get into this data scientist stuff. And I don't know any brothers who know anything about data scientists. There's got to be a story behind this.
All right, so let's start here. What is data science? Data science is the expert study of data using statistics and technology, right? That's data science. What is a data scientist? An expert in the study of data science. All right, so let me put that out there. And I've been a professional data science instructor for the last 3 years, two and a half years. And I tell people all the time, when you want to become a person in tech, stop pretending and just make it about the money. For me, it was drive Uber or learn how to code. And I was driving Uber and I was like, okay, this is not going to work. You know what I'm saying? So I had a Porsche then still before I became data scientist, but I was making payment. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So I was driving an Uber and a Porsche. So you can imagine the psychological thing, because I had a real estate business before where I was subleasing properties, right? Mm-hmm. But what happened is a storm hit South Carolina. If you Google 1,000-year storm South Carolina, it happened about 2014, 2015. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure your family in Greenville, if you ask them about it, they'll tell you about it. It's called a 1,000-year rain. Every 1,000 years, there's like a biblical rain in the state of South Carolina, which like floods everything, right? Yeah. And because I didn't own the properties, I was subleasing. I was making money, but I was subleasing. So let me give you an example, right? I would rent a property that has like 4 bedrooms and 2 baths, because I'm from Columbia, South Carolina, which is a college town, right? Mm-hmm. So I would rent houses that got 4 bedrooms and like 2 bathrooms. And what I would do is I would talk to the landlord and be like, look, I'm gonna have roommates. I give you extra $200 for rent, whatever you charge, $1,300, cool. Whatever you charge $1,300, cool. I'll give you $1,500 because I want to have roommates. They like it because it's more money. So you pay a landlord $1,500. Now this is South Carolina, so it's a lot of old white money, right? All my landlords in South Carolina was white, like all of them, right? I was the only black landlord that my tenants ever knew, right? Because I was young, I was in my 20s. Now I got a 4-bedroom house, 2 bathrooms, and I'm only paying $1,500 a month. You could charge somebody else $650 to stay there. You know what I mean? And they got their own room, they sharing the kitchen. And you might think, oh man, but you got to think, when you in college, that's easy money. I would fill up all the time, right? But when the storm happened, it literally like messed up like almost all the properties. Like I had one property left, right, which I still have. And but you can't live off one property. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So long story short, I moved to Atlanta after that happened because I had a whole business around this. Like I had a real business, like where tenants would come, they'll sign their paperwork and I give them the key. So I had like a real business that I had an office and everything. Yeah. And my office even got destroyed. There's actually pictures of that. It's like my office even got destroyed. So everything got destroyed. So when I moved to Atlanta, I was driving Uber, bro, for like from like August to like that January, man. So I was driving Uber for like 4 or 5 months, man. And y'all know Atlanta not no cheap city. Mm-hmm. And I was hustling, man. I couldn't think of a way because I came from real estate and my degree was in mass communication. So you got to think my degree is like in film and media and all of that, like, which is sexy, but you can't just apply for a job in those fields like you can with another job. You know what I'm saying? And I was still applying, but nobody was really trying. And remember, my experience was in real estate. So my experience didn't even match up with my degree. So I had a real quarter life crisis or midlife, whatever you want to call it. I was like 30, 31. I'm 35 now. And I was like, man, like I got this whole degree, all the student loan debt, went to grad school, all of this, and I can't even use it because I don't have real experience, that the kind of experience they're looking for. Like, if, like, for example, you doing a podcast now, let's say you wanted to do some type of media for a company, they'd be like, that's not experience. They want you to have they want you to have their version of experience, which is basically you working for another white-owned company for 5 to 10 years, and then they'll give you the opportunity. Right. So my partner, he was already making really good money. I met him in Atlanta. We actually met sharing an Airbnb, and he was like, hey, man, I'm in this tech game, man. You should join this tech game. He kept telling me. Long story short, I started applying for technology sales jobs. God, not me. God got hired with IBM in that 4 months in Atlanta, got hired with IBM technology sales.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what department they put me in? The data science team department. So what made me different from my coworkers was I kept telling them this. I'm like, man, I'm looking at what I'm making, which was about 60K, give or take. I'm looking at what I'm making, 50 to 60K, because we got bonuses. And if you make sales, you get a certain amount. You know that whole sales game, right? It's sexy at first, but I was there for a year, but after about 6 months, man, you like, yo, calling 100 people a day, yo, the money's cool, but like I said, I know that ain't a lot of money, but in Atlanta, you know, you can move around with 60K, right?
Yeah,
you can move around with 60K. And long story short, I started telling my coworkers, I said, man, I'm making 100 calls a day, and we calling like data scientists, we're calling chief technology officers, we're calling like the people, and I'm starting to look at their salaries, and I'm looking at my salary. I'm like, yo, they making like, you can Google this now, the average salary of data science like 128,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the average salary. Now, I don't make that because I've never worked for a company full time as a data scientist, right?
Yeah.
Every job I've gotten as a data scientist has been a contract job, which I like because they don't pay me under my social security number, which is the game that I'm telling y'all about. See, we chase jobs not realizing jobs is a trap. That's the actual trap. See, we chase jobs just to brag about our watch and our car. Bro, man, like that's a whole nother podcast. But anyway, my first job, IBM fired like 100 people. We was one of them. If you look at the articles, because I was working for the IBM Watson data science team. If you Google IBM Watson, you'll see that they scaled back their budget a couple years ago, and I was a part of that. Like, it was a worldwide. They scaled down. They fired thousands of people. I was one of them. My first job outside of IBM, I was working as a data scientist instructor for General Assembly, and I made $165 an hour. That was my first job. I was a contractor though, so it wasn't a salary, but still. And from that point on, I was like, all right, this is what I'm doing. But let me tell you, that's how I got into data. But let me tell you the actual process. And this is the part that a lot of people don't want to talk about. Man, I was a ladies' man in Atlanta, man. Like, I was doing I had a legendary run in Atlanta. And I wasn't, because I had a car and I had a cushy salary, at least for me. Like I said, you can move around. You can flex a lot with 60K in Atlanta. I was paying way too much. I was paying $1,500 in rent. I was living in Arium Chastain Park. If people know that who live in Atlanta, I was paying way too much, trying to look the part, even though every time I got paid, I'm literally giving all my money to credit cards. I ain't had no money. That's the reality of it. I ain't had no money. Let's just be frank. I ain't had no money. And that's a big problem in our culture too, right? So I didn't have no money, right? And I made a decision November 2018 or 2017, one of those years. And I said, look, I'm going to become celibate until I master this. And I'm not saying I mastered it, but I was celibate for 8 months, and it was the best decision I ever made, because it no longer was an excuse to me for swiping on Tinder for you, come on now, you out the game, but brothers that's in the game, y'all already know what it is. We on OkCupid, we on every dating site, we going to bars, man. I was going to, because I had a job, I had that monthly income come in. I was going to Monday night bar, Tuesday night, Wednesday, and the crazy part, I don't even drink like that. So I was just out, like, just enjoying Atlanta. Atlanta's a turn up city, man, for people that never live there, man. You get caught up quick, man, because you around people that got real money, and you want to compete with them. So you flex, and everybody know that, but so you flexing. People are scamming. They doing whatever it takes to like keep up with that. But my point is, the people like, man, we got to start focusing and reading. And when I took my mind off of women, this is to my black men. We having a real conversation. This is to my black men, my brothers. We have to focus on the real task at hand, which is freedom. And freedom, unfortunately, in the United States, a big part of freedom comes from your financial literacy and your really just financial literacy. Because if you got the game of finance, which is why I tell people to learn finance, people will give you money. You'll be surprised. Like, we got investors. If people can, like right now, if I was to come out with a course, I'm sure people watching this will buy the course, right? Because they hear my knowledge of finance. So I tell people, learn financial literacy. I don't care what you do. Find time to learn how finance, stocks, debt, loans, all of this stuff really works.
Yeah. And you right on par. I always tell my black men, like, look, health is wealth for us. And when I say that, I mean your financial health, your mental health, and your physical health. Because you could be financially healthy and be over there putting fried chicken grease in your body every day, and then when you hit a certain age, you can't even enjoy life because you over here stuck in paralysis from all the things you done did to your body throughout the years. If your mental health ain't right, we already know the system is set up for us not to win. So if you can't mentally maneuver through some of these microaggressions and different things you got to do to be sharp as attack in business, you're gonna have a hard time with being free from the decisions that may come across your way. You know, you got
And
so many.
can you give an example of what's freedom to you? What's freedom? Let's educate the brothers. What's freedom to you?
So freedom to me is being able to maneuver how I want to maneuver, when I want to maneuver. So if you stuck in a 9 to 5 that says that you can't have dreads, or you have to have your hair a certain way, and you got to talk like that, that's not freedom. I don't care how much they paying you.
Oh, but we gotta, and I know we run. That's an important thing. I want people to, I kind of said that earlier. I'm in a lot of travel groups, finance groups, wealth groups. I tell people, change your algorithm to wealth.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean is, if you're on Instagram, stop following all these Instagram models, man. I get it. Unfollow them. They're not giving you any real value.
Mm-hmm.
Unfollow all of them, even if it takes you a month, 2 months. Unfollow all of them, unless you're really pulling them. Unfollow all of them and follow Earn Your Leisure. Follow Blackpreneurs. Follow Squadcasters. Rashad Bilal, I think that's his name. Like Wall Street Trapper. Like it's like if you go on my Instagram right now, everything on my Instagram is about wealth building vehicles. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, this is for the men. I'm married now. I'm out the game, but telling y'all, before I was out the game, I still was kind of doing my thing. Mm-hmm. And when I say doing my thing, I mean like in business and stuff like that. I'm telling brothers now, when you actually have it, when you actually can afford the car, you don't even want it. I don't even got my car right now. I gave it to my pops. My wife, his wife driving it. You know what I'm saying? I Uber everywhere. I Lyft everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Or I just, or take a taxi, like, because I travel international a lot. I'm actually in Colombia right now. So, you know what I mean? So for me, it's like, it's not even, so my point is, when you actually get this stuff, the freedom you're actually looking for, the women you're actually looking for, when you actually put in the work to actually get it, they'll come. They'll start inboxing you.
Nah.
It's weird, man. I'm telling you, they'll start inboxing you.
And you know, we start to look at these things differently, right? Because like the will, wealth is in knowledge and all that stuff that I mentioned. And then if we decide to get the car, like, so for me, like if I decide to get the big body Porsche or whatever it is, at this point, I'm looking at it as, all right, I'm going to invest in this for what? Like, what is this investment going to do for me? For me, the reason why I would invest in it is because I know our young men in the hood, this is what they believe wealth is. So I'm using this as a magnet to get them to say, oh, he flexed like that. I need to go learn from him. Okay, now that I got you, young man, you see that car that you just had out there that made you want to speak to me? That is nothing unless you're using it to make money for yourself. And now let me tell you how I use that to make money for myself and create wealth. And then show them the game behind that. Like, all right, this car set up in my LLC. I can write it off on my taxes and this. And then I use this as advertisement for this.
Tell him he dropping some gems, man.
So I turn this liability into an asset. And that's what you need to be thinking, young man. Man, we could sit here and just do a whole bunch of gems. You know, you strike me as a brother that's got like just who has so much infinite knowledge, wisdom, and been through a lot of things in life. What would you say is one of the biggest lessons, or a good lesson that life has taught you?
Man, I don't know if this answers the question, because I'm bad with that at times. Because it's certain, man. I'm bad with that. I can admit that. I can admit that. But I always give gems. I'm bad with that. But I'll say this: the thing that changed my life more than anything, the biggest lesson I learned, man, is really two. Number one is focus, and number two is reading. And I don't mean and I don't mean and when you read something, it makes you an expert in the field on a higher level than somebody that's not. And what I mean is, if you want to learn cryptocurrency, start buying cryptocurrency books and actually reading them. Like, and I get it. YouTube is fast. We digest it fast. But you got to understand, like, if you can become an expert in something, it don't matter how much money you make right now. If you can become an expert at something, and you can become an expert at something by reading books and network with other people that are already experts. Networking, reading, and focus, to me, is the key to financial success. But the key to success outside of that, I got a wife and 2 children. Outside of that is intangibles. And intangibles and what I mean when I say intangibles is giving people respect. Don't talk down to people. Like, actually learn as much as you can from other people. And I'm telling you, man, it's a lot of brothers that's younger than me, that's even doing better than me now. And guess what?
Mhm.
Instead of hating on them or kind of compete with them, I still do my best to try to give them advice on certain topics because they don't know everything. You know what I mean? And don't think because you're older than somebody, they can't tell you nothing. You know, or you younger and you more successful, they can't tell you nothing. Nah, like you might want to know what the best workout routine is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I hear that. Now, you're gonna probably inspire a whole bunch of people to get into this crypto game, if they haven't already. What would be some advice you would give to somebody who's trying to really get into the game like you and start a career in the crypto space? What were some tips you would tell them?
First, let me ask you: do you have an email list?
I have an email list. Yes.
I'm going to send you a pitch deck that I did a workshop on. I'm gonna send it to you for free. We charge $250 for the course. We talked about 2 weeks ago. And I had 10 people come. But you gotta understand something. $250, you might say, man, that's a lot. Only 10 people came, but it's the level of knowledge. You do the math. So I'm gonna send you that for free. You can, just for having me on your podcast, you can send that to your followers and all that. And I'm breaking down blockchain and cryptocurrency. So really quick before we get out of here. Cryptocurrency is just a piece of the puzzle. Blockchain is really what brothers need to be studying. Even though I know personally brothers that got rich off of cryptocurrency. I'm talking about rich. Like my partner, he literally invested 5,000 into Ethereum Max. Not Ethereum, but Ethereum Max. That's Floyd Mayweather's coin. He invested $5,000 and made $300,000. My other man, he invested $50,000 into Shiba, and he screenshotted it. He made $400,000. Like, I know people getting real money, but in the pitch deck, I show people how to make money off of blockchain and crypto, and I'm gonna list those really quick before we get out of here. One is buy a cryptocurrency ATM. They are the future. You get one for about $4,000. Google cryptocurrency ATM for sale. Not ATM, cryptocurrency ATM. You can buy one for $4,000 right now. Set it up in your local neighborhood. That's money every month. This is our opportunity, y'all, to get into this game. This is it.
They said the between 2020 and now the biggest wealth transfer we've seen in history.
Yep. And I honestly think it's going to black people. I think it's going. We own more cryptocurrency than any other race in the United States. That's why we got to be careful from people like Elon Musk trying to trick us out of our money, telling us to buy stuff like Dogecoin that has no utility value. But I'll send out information in the description.
What do you think the future has in store for this industry?
Man, I wish I could show my pitch deck, man. So what Cryptoshare is getting into, specifically us, which is the future, we're getting into cryptocurrency payments, right? And I'm gonna send you my pitch deck too, and with the thing, and you hopefully you can share both of them to your matter of fact, I'll send you a little email package.
Yeah, so this is what we're gonna do. Well, I'll share that to the audience too, and then me and you'll be in conversations, and look, this is what we'll do. We'll set up a special event. I'm gonna get with my man, and we'll put together a virtual event like they do with Earn Your Leisure, and we're gonna set y'all up right. But go ahead.
Yeah. All right. So with Cryptoshare, we specifically doing this, and I'm gonna send that all information to you. But the future, we already know this now, is a cryptocurrency payment. It's being able to actually go into a physical place and swipe your debit card or whatever it is, and not pay with whatever your fiat currency is. You're actually paying with cryptocurrency, right? That's the future. Now, like I said, cryptocurrency is the future, but blockchain, that's what brothers need to be studying. And if you don't know what blockchain is, we all got Google these days. If we can put in 3 hours I gave up the NBA about a year ago. If we can put in, and it was a conscious decision because I was literally addicted to the NBA. Like I would argue with you in a barbershop or a conversation or a chat, literally all day. Stop telling me LeBron is the GOAT, bruh. Stop it. I got a case that Tim Duncan is better than him. He got 5 and never had another superstar. But anyway, that's a whole other conversation. And made the playoffs every year in his career. Every year. But anyway, that's a whole other conversation. But I had to give up the NBA, man. And when I gave up the NBA, I started studying finance, and I actually started studying it on a high level. I read as many Warren Buffett books. I read all the books Warren Buffett said to read. I couldn't get through one of them that he said. It was too rough for me, but I read as many books as I could about wealth. So I'm telling y'all the same thing. Read as many books, read as many articles, subscribe to as many people on Instagram, YouTube, whatever. Change your algorithm, man. I get it. She's beautiful, but dude, that's not feeding your kids, fam.
It's not feeding you either.
Woo.
All right, so let's wrap it up like this, because we could go forever, but I like to keep this like condensed, and then we can set up another event later to go deeper with them. What projects are you currently working on, and where can people find you?
2 ways to find me. Go to wefunder.com/cryptoshare, which is the word crypto share, and cryptoshare.app. Cryptoshare.app. And if you want to find me, look me up on LinkedIn. If you just go on LinkedIn, type in Cryptoshare, you'll find the company information. I'm up there. You'll find everything you need to be in. That's pretty much it.
All right, Anade, it's been a pleasure, brother. For those of you who are driving and listening to this, I'm gonna go ahead and put all that in the show notes. I'm gonna have them email it to me and put together everything that we kind of discussed and talk about. My brother, it's been a pleasure, honor, a privilege, all of that. Any last words for the people before we head out?
Get money. That's our saying with Cryptoshare. Get money. Literally, that's in our logo. I sent it to you. It literally says get money. But nah. Seriously,
I just hear the Julian Mafia, get money.
Exactly. That's in my mind. Like, oh, that's what people might put it together. But seriously, real quick, last thing. Remember, do not let other people define you. You are wealthy.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Rise Urban Nation.
Thank you for taking the journey.
Be sure to like, comment, and smash that subscribe button. And stay connected with Terrell on and off the show. Follow at Rise Urban Nation on all platforms.
Do what you love what you do. Don't chase the money. Let the money chase you.